Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Boy GhostGG, and today we are reacting to Dragon Age the Veilguard, 22 minutes of gameplay with BioWare. This video came out almost 2 weeks ago, 13 days ago. I did not react to it at that time, including some other ones that we're going to be reacting to later in the day. But yeah, we're going to start with the 22 minutes of gameplay, and yeah, let's get right into it. Oh, I've been sick for like this last week, infected ear, so that's why I
What's
really
up,
haven't been doing a lot of
everybody? I'm
stuff.
Cat Bailey, and this is our extended look at Dragon Age the Veilguard's gameplay. I'm here with BioWare lead developers Corinne Bush and John Epler. Corinne, what are we looking at today?
Hey y'all, so today
This is 22
we're going
minutes.
to be helping out one of our companions, Davrin. This is part of his personal arc to rescue the griffins long thought extinct.
Ooh.
We're going to take a quick journey through the lighthouse, your base of operations. We're going to head into the crossroads and make our way to the dark swamps of Hosberg wetlands.
So you're in the lighthouse, as Corinne mentioned. This is your base of operations that you inherited willingly or unwillingly from Solus. It is located in the Fade. It's where Solus was able to start planning his rebellion against the Elven gods millennia ago. Right now, you and your team have occupied it, started to build it, started to shape itself around your personality. As Corinne mentioned, we are going to go talk to Davrin, who is located up above. And each of these spaces kind of shapes itself around your companions as they live there, as they basically spend their arcs in those rooms.
Okay.
And we see here the glowing light above indicates Davrin's ready for us. Let's check in with him.
Something wrong?
We got a message. A place called the Cauldron was attacked.
That's some sort of Grey Warden tavern.
It's a secret Warden readout. No idea what goes on there.
Then why are you involved?
Because whatever attacked it sounds like the Gloomhowler.
So earlier in Davrin's arc, you were introduced to his nemesis, the Gloomhowler, a creature that's been hunting and stalking wardens for quite some time. It's kidnapped a bunch of other griffins. Davrin has been trying to track it down. Now he's got a lead, so we're going to go find this and go track this thing down.
Now, Davrin, he prefers the direct approach. We're going to choose a tough response and see if we can get his approval.
Then let's get rid of it.
Had the same thought.
Nice.
What's left of the Wardens are still licking their wounds. So we handle this alone. Just go to the Cauldron and get the Griffins back.
Stop.
You have to promise to behave, boy. Listen to every word I say, stay out of trouble, don't do anything dumb, and don't eat any.
I think we get the point.
Lancet and Remy told me there's a word for the bond between a griffin and Warden moving as one. Turlum. Until Hassan and I have that, I'm supposed to keep him safe.
I have to say that I find the griffin adorable.
And very importantly, I know this is a question on everyone's mind. Yes, you can pet Hassan.
Yes.
Well, thank goodness for that.
That's all that matters.
All right, what are we going to be doing next?
He's up for this.
All right, we're going to finish getting this information from Davrin on the Gloomhowler, and we'll be off to Hosberg in the crossroads.
Between Warden and Griffin starts by having faith in each other.
Maybe. I suppose you were born for this sort of fight, boy. All talents and temper.
And a sharp tongue to remind you of it.
As long as he backs it up.
I think you
So
will.
I assume that Hassan can be helpful during the gameplay.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, a lot of Davrin's abilities revolve around calling Hassan in the heat of battle. I in particularly love when you're going against enemies, you see Hassan swoop down, especially if it triggers a combo between your companions.
As Corinne mentioned earlier, one of the interesting, fun things we've done is if you see the lights on in a room, companions have something to say. You can see Harding up in that space there, Nev behind you as well, and Belara. But we have a mission ahead of us. We're going to go find the Gloomhowler if we can, and we're going to go through the crossroads in order to do that. And the crossroads, if you've played previous Dragon Age games, Trespasser in particular, is a location in the Fade that contains a number of alluvions, allowing you to travel across Thedas in a matter of minutes. But at this point, the crossroads are under assault by the other elven gods. It's a dangerous place, and we are going to be in for a bit of a fight.
And this
Okay.
alluvion, the Vera Voss, is the central focus point of the lighthouse. This is going to take us to Solus's pocket area of the crossroads, and it might look a little bit different from what you've seen in Trespasser.
Can you tell us a little bit about the role that the Crossroads plays in the structure and the gameplay?
Yeah, so the crossroads is, again, it's the area that you spend a lot of time traveling through as you go from area to area. It's also a space that has at one point served as Solus's main base of operations and training ground for his rebellion against the elven gods. So as you go through it, you're going to find fragments of the past, the things that Solus had done previously that are going to give you a bit of insight into Solus as a character, but also into the elven gods and their motivations.
Some of my favorite content that you'll find if you go exploring in the Crossroads is these opportunities to actually relive some of the memories Solus had during his rebellion. You actually get to take part in this ancient rebellion.
And here we have the Caretaker, a mysterious spirit that was actually here before Solus was and started to help Solus with his rebellion, but also to turn this into a safe haven for spirits. Again, as I mentioned before, the gods are assaulting the Crossroads, so it's no longer the safe haven it once was, but you're going to work with this Caretaker through quite a large amount of ancillary content to rebuild this into that safe home for these creatures that, if anyone knows Solus, he has a tremendous amount of affection for spirits.
All right, now we're gonna get into combat here, and this time we're playing as a mage. Now, mage is one of my favorite classes to play. It's primarily a ranged attacker, and when we're surrounded by swarming darkspawn, I really have to use a variety of strategies to control the battlefield. I'm gonna use my heavy charged attacks to knock down these ghouls, get them out of the way, and of course, darkspawn are vulnerable to fire. So we made sure to equip our fire staff, have our fire abilities on hand.
You may notice something about the Darkspawn too, is that they look a little bit different than they have previously. And part of that is because Gillinane, who has always been focused on using the Blight as essentially a crafting material, a way to alter life itself, has been enhancing and changing these Darkspawn as part of her army.
Corinne, I noticed that you were doing a combo opportunity. Can you tell us a little bit more about how the role that plays in the actual combat?
Yes, so the combat system in this game, the deep strategy behind it is really to manage the various abilities your companions and Rook have in concert. So in this case, Harding has a combo opportunity with Shred. It's going to apply the Sundered effect and deal a high amount of stagger. Now you'll notice I can combo that with Rook's ability Spirit Bomb. That's going to cause a detonation combo.
So, again, one of the things you'll notice about the terrain here is it's very snowy, very mountainous. The Crossroads is a realm that reflects the waking world. In this case, it's an amalgamation of all the real world spaces that are tied to it. In the case, we've got Hosper, we've got other mountainous regions. So it's kind of this mix of the swamp, and as you'll see as we move towards these alluvions, the architecture around them very clearly reflects what's on the other side. We're not going to spoil and tell you exactly what's on the other side, but you maybe make a few guesses based on what you're seeing.
Do I have to do the Crossroads, or can I just fast travel right through?
So it depends how you progress through the game. The first time you go to any of the new regions in the world, you'll traverse the Crossroads to get there. Subsequent times, we of course support fast travel, but it behooves you to actually go back and explore the Crossroads as some of the deepest secrets lie within.
So now you're in Hosberg Wetlands. It's an area that has been almost completely consumed by the Blight. The Grey Wardens have set up an outpost here. Again, if you know anything about the Grey Wardens, they fight the Blight anywhere they see it. And they're noticing something strange is going on here. The Blight is not behaving as they expected to and as it historically has. So they've set up shop in this place called Lavendale. And you are here to work with them, help them out, and help them find an answer to the questions about the Blight that they're asking.
Tell me a little bit more about this area. It looks a little bit like a hub where you can get a lot of quests and things like that.
That's right. So here we find one of the bases of the Grey Wardens. So you'll see they've really built up a small fighting force here to hold off the Darkspawn. What's more, the Grey Wardens are a faction we're going to be working with throughout the game. We've got Holden, one of the Grey Warden quartermasters. We're actually going to upgrade his shop and see what items he has in store for us, see if maybe it gives us an edge in combat.
So you can rank up the shops and
The
get
Grey
better
Wars, much
items
like
from
the other factions, they understand the stakes of the gods being out. They want to help you, but you need to help them first. They have, again, as Kryn mentioned, they're holding off the Darkspawn here. They have other priorities, so getting them more powerful allows them to more meaningfully contribute to your fight against the Elven gods.
So where are we going next?
All right, so we're heading out of the Grey Warden Fortress into the small town of Lavendel. Now, this used to be a beautiful
I'm liking the look of this game, though.
place full of life, flowers, and you can see what effect the blight has had. But the residents are still here. They're
I don't know
trying to
why,
make
but it
the
gives me
most
like a
of
little
their
bit of a different
lives,
feel from
and you can see
Inquisition.
there's plenty of opportunities to help them. In fact, we're going to quickly check in with Finn the physician and see what he has in store for us.
So Flynn, again, one of the focuses of this game is characters, not causes.
I've been busy with patients, but I'm short on medical supplies. My mentor, Oscar, he should have some. He has a cabin outside the village. If you're out there, tell him you saw Flynn, and they could use his help.
And Flynn is a warden who you will do quests with. We wanted to make sure that the side content of Dragon Age: The Veilguard felt as meaningful and tied to the overall conflict of the game as anything else you do. We don't want you to just go off and do random tasks. Everything needs to feel meaningful, either contributing to your fight against the gods or contributing to the growth of your companions and the factions that you need at your side to stop the gods.
You look a bit worried.
We're not sure where some of our wardens are, Beckett and a few others. We're supposed to check in. We need to look out for each other more than ever. It's just, I know they took Weishaupt hard, and I hope they're okay.
All right, so we picked up a couple of quests in Lavendel, but we're here to help Davrin. So we're going to make our way through the perils of Hosberg and try to get to this Warden Fortress of the Cauldron.
Seeing a lot of kind of organic matter. I suppose that's the blight.
Absolutely. So the blight at this point, as mentioned before, the wardens understand it's changed. It's become a lot more organic, a lot more alive. You know, back in Dragon Age 2, Inquisition, Origins, the blight, while it was a slow-moving wall, it didn't have this almost sentience, this almost thought behind it. And obviously, we've talked about how the gods that are out are blighted. That probably has something to do with it, and it's made this area far more dangerous than it would have been before.
And you might notice as we get into combat with some of these Darkspawn that they do look a little bit different than before, and that's very intentional. Gillenane, the god of monsters, she uses blight like a medium to sculpt and warp the Darkspawn to do her bidding, to suit her purposes.
So right now you'll see a couple of Hurlocks, one with some pretty disgusting growths on its back. Again, the idea that the Darkspawn and the Blight is an organic weapon. They're not just coming out and, making swords, making armor. They're using the Blight to augment themselves so they can more effectively defeat you and also give the gods the world that they desire.
All right, now I'm actually going to switch to my Orb and Dagger on the Mage, and those of you that were fans of the Knight Enchanter in Dragon Age Inquisition, you might feel right at home with this. This is a more melee-focused, more agile version of the Mage.
Nice.
One of the main mechanics here is you can use this elemental orb to apply stacks of elemental damage to the enemy, and then unleash them with your dagger to detonate them.
So, again, we're in, you'll notice that there are Blight pools. The Darkspawn aren't just coming out of nowhere. The Blight is spawning them. Again, part of Gillenane's attempt to turn this into an army for the gods is to use these Darkspawn, not just, again, whereas you have the Venatori and the Antam, one case representing magical power, in the other case representing physical strength, the Darkspawn are representing overwhelming force.
That was a pretty clutch heal a little earlier, by the way.
You know, we've talked at length before that our fans have asked us, where is the healing magic? Can you bring it back? And Nev in this game, happy to oblige with a kit of healing spells.
Nice. Love that.
So one of the interesting things that I love about our companions is each of them, their abilities, the way that they're built, they're very thematically appropriate to the character. They're very focused on making sure that the gameplay and the narrative are as closely aligned as possible. In the case
Blind.
of Nev versus Blar versus Amrik, our mages, each of them has a healing ability that is thematically appropriate to them. It makes sense when you know them as a character.
Watching you play, I'm struck by sort of the size and the scope of this particular area. It seems like there's a lot of exploration that I can be doing right here.
It's pretty big.
That was really one of our goals with these areas. Of
Ooh,
course,
got a
we are
common
a
appearance.
mission-based game, but we really emphasize player autonomy. You can revisit these spaces. They're full of secrets, puzzles, some pretty incredible bosses and treasure. And of course, as we saw earlier in Lavendel, some really narratively rich side quests.
One thing that's interesting is you'll find we're going on a quest for Davrin, but Davrin is not currently in our party. That's because Davrin has gone ahead of us and is waiting for us at the Cauldron. This is, again, we want the followers, the companions, to feel like they have autonomy, and
that's what I thought. I was thinking about that.
Quest on their own, they will
like, we are doing a mission for the guy,
so
but he isn't in the party.
There, you can have you talk to them, you have a conversation with them, and it feels like they are as invested in the success of their journey, their stories, as you are.
This looks like a pretty contiguous zone, is that right?
It is, yes. So it's full of branching paths, different areas to explore. And what I love is the more content you do in the area, the more shortcuts you're going to discover. You're really going to have a lot more flexibility in how you navigate between your remaining missions and quests.
Well, I think something really interesting, too, about the way that our team has built these spaces is there's the idea of each space has its own story to tell. And well, those you're kind of getting to the center of what exactly is going on.
That was interesting. I lost connection to the site or something.
The quest that you do and the content Corinne is currently engaged in helps to tell that story.
All right, we can see our companions are up here attacking this dark spawn on their own. Let's give them a quick hand.
When's this game come out? They don't have a release date yet. They said it's coming out this year though, right? 2024? Like fall 2024
right.
something like that?
I love positional gameplay, making use of the environment to your advantage.
How's fall damage?
I just saw that you could do a takedown move, so it's kind of a finishing move.
You can. Now, in this particular build, I'm really focused on using necromantic energies to siphon life force. But if I, for instance, wanted to go the stagger route, I could go a full takedown build if I like. It's a really powerful, heavy-hitting style of gameplay.
All right, so you'll notice Davrin is waiting for us, so let's see what he has to say. The sun flies in.
Yeah, a bad day at the Cauldron.
What could do that?
And what have they been hiding inside?
So something tore through the gate. That's probably not great. Looks like we should probably get moving.
We won't find out standing around here.
Be ready for anything.
So because we don't have Davrin in our party, he's going to move ahead and wait for us while we bring Nev and Harding along to clear a path for ourselves to find Davrin and get to where he is.
Can you talk a little bit about how Nev and Harding sort of synergize during the combat?
Yeah, so Nev and Harding, Nev is a mage, Harding is a rogue, and each of the classes, and you can build a party entirely of one class if you want, but the idea is that the classes synergize and they can set up and detonate each other's abilities in a very interesting way. Now, because you have a lot of freedom in how you build your character, you can, again, as said, you can have all rogue party, all mage party, all warrior party, it still works. But in this case, Nev and Harding are very effective at setting up and detonating, in this case, as Corinne's going to show.
So we're in danger here, and this is really what I love about the tactical layer of combat. If you get in that clutch situation where you've got this devastating incoming attack, great time to pause gameplay, weigh your options, and in this case, I'm going to go back to our combo here and see if I can just quickly get out of the way. All right. You can see I've applied siphoning to these enemies, so I'm actually going to be leeching their health when I use my mage beam.
Nice.
Now you'll notice there's blight boils throughout the area, and that's part of our philosophy on the combat encounters. If I don't destroy these blight boils, ghouls are going to continue to emerge. So I'm really focused on what targets do I take down first. This enemy is a little bit weaker. I think I'm going to have my companions focus on them while I deal with this grenadier that's given me some problem.
Yeah, I will say, and that's I'm not on the sick. Kryn is much better at this game than I am, and is much better at this game than I am, and
You say that?
Well, most of the time, yes, 100%. But each enemy, again, really leaning into the organic. What I love about the Grenadiers is they basically rip off pieces of themselves and throw them at you, which explode as blight. And again, really leaning to the idea that the blight is organic and disgusting.
One thing that I'm noticing is that the combat encounters can get pretty intense. You end up playing a lot of different enemies. You can absolutely die if you're not careful.
Yes, and this, as we mentioned earlier, this is well into the game. So combat counters have really ramped up. And it really shows the importance of positioning, using your companions wisely, and looking for those synergies and combos.
Yeah.
Now, this is interesting. We just went down. We've built our companions to be able to come to our aid. So we're actually going to use a revive here. And Nev to the rescue.
And as Corinne mentioned, this is later in the game, and Hossberg itself is what I would consider a later game area, and the encounters a little bit more challenging. It's a more dangerous space.
It did say they were like level 35 or something, right?
So in the visuals, the storytelling here, this is a place that
level 35.
You don't want to be. You don't want to be in Hossberg. It is full of darkspawn, full of blight, and generally not a pleasant place to be.
Well, we'll be able to explore more of the Cauldron when Dragon Age: The Veilguard comes out on October 31st.
Oh.
In the meantime, we are going to be continuing on with our
31st.
IGN First coverage of Dragon
I
Age.
didn't realize there was
for
an
the
actual
rest of
date.
September. And for everything that's great about games and RPGs, keep it locked on IGN.
October 31st. There we have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's the 22 minutes of gameplay that I missed when it first came out like 2 weeks ago, about 2 weeks ago. And yeah, it looks really good. Here's the thing. I did say that... hold up. I just need to change this out to October. I said October 31st, right? I do like what I'm seeing. I'm still not a big fan of the pausing during combat. But everything else, I do like what I'm seeing. But it really depends how much it takes you out of the game, I guess. But also, from what I saw from the combat, it looked very difficult. So that moment of pause and be able to reevaluate what you're trying to do does seem nice. But yeah, I don't know. It's something I won't 100% know until I actually start playing it. But everything else looks great. It does look like it's quite an exploring kind of game. You can, just like Inquisition, you have your hub area, then you go outwards to different areas and explore around, do missions and stuff. Like, it does give me that feel, but also it feels a lot different than Inquisition. It feels a lot more darker. And I do like that. But yeah, that is the 22 minutes of gameplay. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.